Welcome to the updated companion series for Aurora 101. In this series, we're going to walk you through creating a lead in Lightspeed, turning that into an Aurora proposal, and then showing you the 3 routes for doing an Aurora proposal using the cash option, then going over it with our loan option, and finishing up with third-party owned. In the next video, we're going to walk you through creating a lead from scratch, the required information you need for that lead, and how to turn that into an Aurora proposal. A lead and give you all of the required information you need to generate a lead, and then how to take that lead and turn it into Aurora proposal. So let's get started. Once you're logged into Lightspeed, you will navigate to the leads dashboard and press the add lead button to generate a new lead. The 4 required pieces of information that are needed for a lead are the install address, which we'll populate here now, the full name, and when you put the property address in, make sure that you drag the pin onto the appropriate roof and make sure that it's in the center of that property. We'll scroll down to add more lead details and enter email address and phone number. Now, you can also add utility company information or add energy usage or appointment data here, but in terms of creating the lead to generate a proposal, you do need the name, install address, email address, and phone number to generate that. You can add the utility information later in the process, and many of the other information is just extra additional information, but those 4 required pieces are needed to generate that proposal. So let's click Create Lead. Once you create that lead, you should see a Google Street View of that property and the lead details that you just populated, including any appointments that you've entered, whether there's an Aurora proposal or a Sunrun proposal. If you want to learn Sunrun, jump over to our Sunrun Companion series and learn about Sunrun 1. For here, we're going to stick with Aurora and click New Aurora Proposal. Now, with an Aurora proposal, the pin location on the roof is important. Also, so the address is as well. So when you are generating a proposal in Aurora, make sure that the pin location is on the correct roof, because once you click confirm and you've stuck to that address and that pin location, if it's not correct, you will need to create a lead from scratch that reflects the proper pin location of the correct address. So we're going to go ahead and click confirm, and this will then take us to Aurora where we can start building our proposal. Because of our API link with Aurora, it will automatically take us to the front page of that design, and we can start the process of entering utility usage and doing the design, which we will cover in the next video. In the next video, we're going to cover inputting usage and designing the roof. Thanks for watching. In the previous video, we walked you through the process of generating a lead in Lightspeed and converting that lead into Aurora. In this video, now that we're in the Aurora proposal, we're going to walk you through entering the utility information and navigating to the design screen and designing your project for your homeowner. So to begin, Aurora has a top to bottom scroll. So as we scroll down, the first screen we'll get to is the energy usage. Now, if you entered this energy usage previously in the lead, it will translate over to the Aurora proposal. For this proposal, we're going to click Add Energy Usage. And here we have the monthly kilowatt hours. So after we have our homeowner's bill, we can put in our monthly usage. Now, you can put in all 12 months, or you can put in the months that you have if the homeowner is relatively new to the home. So let's say for this project, we're going to have 3 months of usage for this property. Now, as I'm entering numbers into the monthly inputs, you can see the estimates will grow for the other months. And on the bottom, the graph represents months that we've put in and the other months that are estimates. Months that we've entered in as data are solid. Months that are estimates have that checkerboard or that candy cane striped pattern. This is using our Genability tool to estimate homeowners' usage based on historical data for these properties and the region that they're in. So if we only have 3 months of usage, we can still get a close proximity to what their usage profile will be. You can change this from monthly average, monthly estimate, annual energy estimate, and interval data, and you can change it also from units and kilowatt hours. Here is your pre-solar rate and your post-solar rate. Typically, Aurora will detect based on the region what the utility is, and then your utility rate will show the other utilities in that area. So I've chosen TECO because this is a project demonstration in the Tampa Bay area. So I will click Done. And here I will have the average utility rate, the fixed costs, and the escalation, as well as what their average monthly bill is and what that bill would be in 25 years based on the escalation profile. You can click on the 25-year total and click the cumulative bills and see what it would be after 1 year or after 25 years as well. Now we'll scroll down and you will see other sales related slides, including how to read a bill, solar power during the day and night, and why they should be going with Freedom Forever. We also have info on our Safe Streets promotion. If you want to learn more about the Safe Streets promotion and what you can offer to the homeowners, navigate to the Sales Resource Center and view that deck in the Sales Resource Center for Safe Streets. Now, when we get down to your solar design breakdown, here's where we're going to identify the roof planes, the setbacks, the keepouts, and we'll do that by clicking Edit Solar Design. When we get to our design screen, we have two options: run Aurora's Roof AI or request an expert model. So we're going to run the Aurora Roof AI, and in less than 30 seconds, we should have all of the roof planes identified and all of the keepouts identified. Now that our Roof AI design is complete, we can go ahead and start the process of putting panels on the roof. So on the left-hand side, I'll choose the panel placement tool, and I'm going to choose the base model panel, which right now is the Jinko 390. We will choose place, and this will generate a max fit for the roof. And it will activate the panels that it believes will get the project close to 100% offset. Notice as I activate more panels on the upper right hand side, you see the offset getting closer to 100%. Clicking this down arrow also allows you to see system size, the usage versus the production of the system. So now we have anticipated 101% offset. We can choose finalize, but before we do that, I want to show you a couple of additional tools. If you're doing a ground mount project, you can use the ground mount tool here, and you can also select which inverter you would like while you're building the project. If you're going to use a N-phase inverter, you would check that box here, and that would automatically turn that adder on in the adder sheet. If you're using the Tesla Powerwall 3, you would choose the Tesla as your inverter. The default is Solar Edge, so we're going to leave this as Solar Edge for the purpose of this demonstration. Now, when you click Finalize, it's going to do an additional scan of the irradiance and give you a saved design that it's going to calculate the true offset after calculating the irradiance. When you're building the project, it gives you an anticipated offset. Now that we've clicked Finalize, it's going to give us a real offset here on the upper right-hand side. Once this number pops back, we'll know what the offset for the system is. All right, so we maintain 101%. In the next video, we'll go over storage and show you how to price this project in Aurora. Previous video, we went over building your design. Now we're going to talk about adding batteries to a project. Refer to the adder sheet to see what the available batteries are for your area. For this, I'm going to choose the Tesla Powerwall 3 and quantity. I can also go back to the design, and now that I've chosen Tesla as my battery option, I want to choose my inverter as Tesla as well to recalculate my project. If you are working in a state that has the non-backup option, you would choose non-backup or self-consumption in that mode, and that would change the storage setup to allow you to pick the batteries that are used for non-backup in that region. Again, we'll refer to the adder sheet often in this video because that's going to be the document you use to find out what the current battery models are for backup and non-backup options. So now that we've chosen a battery, I'm going to go over to the pricing page. This is where you set your net PPW if you're doing a cash or finance project, and where you will also select the different adders for the project. So let's say we have multiple roof planes. We have an additional roof plane. We are doing the Tesla Powerwall. And let's just say the homeowner wants an EV charger for the home. As I choose those options, it's going to add those costs into the proposal. Now notice we don't have a system cost here yet because I need to set my price per watt, which is the goal of the sales rep to set what they intend to make commission-wise for a net PPW. So let's say my goal here was to make 2.75 price per watt. And I'm going to choose my financing type as cash. So when I edit the finance type, I'll choose cash as my option. And that will allow me to choose Paykeeper, which is our current method of collecting funds for the homeowner when they do a cash project. So now that I've chosen my paykeeper, it's going to show the payback period, the total system cost with my adders included, and the net cost after tax credit. In the next video, we will go over how to price a Mosaic loan using the same tools. Thanks. In this video, we'll walk you through how to add storage to a project, how to price that project in the financing and pricing screen, and how to choose cash as your payment option for paykeeper. This video will show you a second option for our finance partners where we will discuss Mosaic. To choose a Mosaic loan, we are going to return to the financing details here. You get that by pressing the pencil tool here to edit your finance option. We're going to change this from cash, which is what our previous video discussed, to Mosaic. Now, when we choose Mosaic, it's going to populate a list of available loan products for the region that we're in. So I'm going to choose the Mosaic Choice 3.99% for 25 years. As you scroll through here, you can see all of the other different loan options, years, APRs. If you wanted a Power Switch Plus, you would choose that here. For this video, we're going to choose the 3.99%. Now, when I choose that as my option, it's going to show me the APR, the duration, what the financed amount is, and what the net cost of that project is after tax credit, plus the monthly payments. Now, if I'm satisfied with that option, I can click done and move forward. If you wanted to add a down payment to change the monthly payment, you could do that here. And you can also change the loan products. Refer to the Sales Resource Center in the Finance and Payment Options folder to get a rate card to see what the different loan options are available. There's also Mosaic training decks there and a current card of the dealer fees for each associated loan that we offer. So I'm going to click done here and done here. Now, in order to apply for that Mosaic loan, you go to the financing page in Aurora and choose apply now. But before we do that, I do want to draw your attention to a button on the same line as the apply now button. If you as the sales rep want to demonstrate to the homeowner what their monthly payment would be if they don't choose to use the tax credit for its intended purpose, you can check that box for use tax credit to pay down loan. By untoggling that button, it will recalculate the loan payment to show you what the monthly payment would look like after month 19 if they chose to not use the tax credit to apply it to the cost of the system. So let's go ahead and move forward with that loan application. When you choose apply now, that's going to open up the credit application, which can either be emailed to the homeowner or it could be directly applied in the Aurora built-in iframed loan application. So this will bring up the loan application where you'll fill out the remaining details with the homeowner, like date of birth, primary residence, social, last four of social to run the soft credit check for this project. Once they have secured financing and it's approved, you will receive a notification where you can then return to this screen. At that point, the loan application will be prepared to be sent to the homeowner when you convert this project over using Lightspeed. So from here, if I wanted to convert this to a project, I would go exit to CRM and go through the project generation process now that I've secured that loan funding. In the next video, we're going to go over the Enfin process. So we'll return to the pricing page, change our product, and show you how it works in Enfin. In this video, we talked about our finance partner Mosaic and how to add a Mosaic loan to a project. In this video, we're going to talk about our TPO partner, Enfin. Enfin is available in Florida and certain select utilities in California. If you're in one of those two markets, or as we expand and you're here to learn about how to use Enfin, you're in the right place. So a couple of key points about Enfin. Because it's a third-party owned product, you will not use this number to determine your net PPW. With Enfin, you're going to choose a product, a price, and the sun hours will ultimately determine the EPC and then the net price per watt when you convert the project. So for cash and Mosaic, you will use this number, but for Enfin, we'll choose the pencil tool, go to Enfin for their products, and for this, we're going to choose the 2.99%. You'll see that once I choose that, it's going to open up a pop-up window that shows me different prices, what the monthly payment would be, what the yield is, which is essentially the sun hours, and the rates we can charge, right? So I'm going to choose, let's say, this 11 cents for the project, and that's my my EPC for the total cost of the project, right? So what you need to understand with the TPO is that adders are deducted from the gross system price, which is determined by this EPC. So with a cash or a finance deal, you set a price and you build in the adders. But with a TPO, there is a gross system price and the adders are deducted from that. So if you have additional adders that you know are going to come out of the project, you may have to charge a different price to offset the cost of those adders. So for this example, I'm going to choose 11 cents and click Save. That will give me a solar rate, the escalator we chose, and the estimated payment for year 1. I'll click Done. And similar to a Mosaic, when you get to the financing page, you will click the Apply Now button, and that is where you will go to fill out the Enfin loan application. One thing of note with Enfin, if you're choosing them as your partner, it is vitally important. Well, it's vitally important for all of our projects, but much more so with the accuracy of the information about the title holder, the email address, the phone number, that those are all correct so that when you submit financing, it goes through smoothly. So if I were to choose Apply Now, that would open up the credit window for Enfin, where we could then fill this out and submit the application for the homeowner to move forward with their Enfin project. So once you've completed that lease application, you can go back to financing and convert this project after they've completed their welcome call. In the next video, we will walk you through the exit to CRM process so you can generate this project and send it over to Lightspeed. In this video, we walk you through the Enfin process, how to choose that as one of your finance products for a TPO option inside of Aurora. In this video, we are going to complete the process of a project being signed, welcome call completed, loan docs completed, everything completed from a customer standpoint in the Aurora side. Now, how do we take that and generate that project back into Freedom's portal? So we're going to use Mosaic as an example. So I have my loan product here, and we're going to assume that the homeowner has already completed their welcome call, signed their loan documents, done everything necessary to submit this project into Lightspeed. So to turn this into a Lightspeed project, we're going to go exit to CRM. Now, if you've missed any adders in the process, you will get a notification that you may have forgotten to turn on one of the adders. This also applies if you've had adders in the project that don't need to be there. So for this demonstration, I'm going to move forward with my proposal details. When you get to the exit to CRM screen, after that first initial screen, if there are any blocks or missing adders or too many adders, you'll get to the review proposal details, which will give you an idea of what the project is, the system size, are there any inverters, batteries, and then a financial breakdown of that project. If all of those details look good and your loan products match, you can confirm those proposal details. If you are using a battery, here is where you'll do the storage guide, where you'll choose which circuits in the home are going to be backed up. And you would choose if this is a whole home or partial home backup, depending on the amount of batteries that you have selected. And then you'll go through the battery disclaimer. If you had chosen in the adder sheet one of the smart home packages, this would be selected here. You also have the opportunity to choose it from the project generator for the basics, essentials, or premium package. Then you will confirm the project's basic information, whether it's part of an HOA, is the utility bill holder the person that is on contract or someone else in the home. Confirm the utility and choose whether you want to match the sold production or match the layout. Any referrals or rebates offered, you would put that information here and check those boxes. And then under special requests, here's where you can provide detailed notes and additional information about that project. We will move on to the next screen. When you get to the final screen, it'll show you which DocuSign documents are going to be signed by the homeowner. Here is the opportunity for you to upload the utility bill and any other supporting documents. And if everything is all set and you've completed all of those tasks, you click Send Documents and Exit. This will then send all of those DocuSign documents to the homeowner for them to sign in one package in their email. So they'll check their email to begin that document signing process. You as the sales rep also have to sign your portion of the contract, especially if it's in the cash or Mosaic, like we're doing in this example. So you would then sign the Freedom contract. Then once the homeowner has signed all of their documents, when you refresh this screen, you will be able to submit this project into Lightspeed and schedule your site survey. Thank you for watching the Aurora Companion Series. If you have any questions about any of these processes or need a more detailed training or additional info, you can always reach out to the product education team at producteducation@freedomforever.com. Thanks for watching. For these amazing updates that are coming down the pipeline for Aurora Sales Mode. We think you're really going to enjoy the differences in Aurora Sales Mode, how this is going to make your life easier as a rep, and how much more streamlined and intuitive this process will be for you. So let's jump into the agenda. First, we're going to talk about the updates to the Sales Mode platform. We'll jump over to a live demonstration where we'll show you the key differences between the old sales mode and the new sales mode. Talk about some of these new proposal options when you're wrapping up with your customer. And then we've got folks from Aurora here with us today to help us with the Q&A session to answer your questions about these differences and these changes and these improvements to Aurora Sales Mode. So let's jump into it. So what are the updates to the Sales Mode platform? Well, number one, you're going to get a redesigned proposal experience. On top of that, you're going to get way faster load times and calculations, an improved navigation of the proposal platform, and a very key difference is improved shareability. Now, before we go any further, what's not changing about Sales Mode is that you're still going to have that same full access to building your proposal in a fast and easy manner. You'll still have that same design technology that we love that gets you incredibly accurate designs quickly. Those performance simulations and pricing calculations remain the same. The purpose of this update is to improve the speed, flow, pace, and look of the presentation with your customers. So we're taking what's already incredibly successful about Aurora and building on top of that a more intuitive, streamlined process for presenting that proposal. So let's jump over now to the old sales mode so we can talk about the key differences between what's changing, what you used to have, and what it's going to look like now. Okay, so we've jumped over to the previous version of Sales Mode. You can see that in this old version, you have a drop down here. You can still access your adders, but everything in the proposal process is a step-by-step, page-by-page process where you have to navigate left and right clicks. Now, that's a completely acceptable way to do a proposal, but the new proposal design in Aurora reimagines the same platform and allows you to have a much more streamlined, intuitive process. So let's take a look at that new process now and how much cleaner and effective it is than the previous sales mode. So I've left the old sales mode. I'm over in Lightspeed with a new lead, and I'm going to click New Aurora Proposal and open up the new sales mode to demonstrate. No different than before. I'm going to confirm that pin location and open up that proposal. Now you can see straight from the jump, we are in the new sales mode, and you can see a much more cleaner, streamlined, intuitive system. Instead of the left to right clicks, we now have our tools directly at the top here. It changes the control of the presentation and allows you much more customization and a cleaner look to go step by step in one screen with your homeowner. So as I scroll down, I have the ability to add my energy usage again. This brings up the same screen that we had before to enter our kilowatt hour usage. So I'll enter a couple of months here. And we will estimate the rest of that usage. Same tools. Once we click done with our usage, we are returned to the new sales proposal where we see the average monthly bill and the estimated bill in 25 years. We can also change that to 25-year total and get that additional cost of doing nothing data. To continue on in the proposal now, I don't have to click next. I just continue to scroll down where I'll see all of the slides from my previous presentation in a more streamlined up and down process. So here's the traditional bill slide, solar power day versus night, the benefits of going with Freedom Forever, our partnership with Vivint. And then instead of going to the design screen, now we scroll down to that portion of the presentation and click Edit Solar Design. This is where it's going to ask you to now run the roof AI. So we are returned to the familiar roof design screen where we can now design this system, add panels, show the irradiance, LiDAR, and sun path, and a 3D model of the home. Okay, so you can see I've jumped ahead here and I've placed panels on the roof just to demonstrate that the design mode is still the same. You're going to design your system the same as you would on any other proposal. But I will show you that the calculations and getting the final results is much faster. So I have the system designed at 83%. I'm going to increase my panels here to get closer to 100% offset, and I'll finalize. So you see the design will be saved and the calculation will run much faster than it would have in the past. So as these simulations run, you're going to get results much faster than you would have in the past. Once that's complete, I can click done, and that returns me to my solar design and that top to bottom navigational model where I can scroll up and down my proposal. So if at any point in time I do need to change the look or the layout, I can scroll back up to this panel and click edit solar design, or jump immediately there by clicking the home button, because these navigations at the top now will jump me directly to the location I need to be to switch things in my proposal. So as I scroll down, now I can see the storage page is included. If I was going to add storage to a project, I would do that here. As I scroll down, you'll see the remaining sales slides and then drop down to the financing option. So now that this is that top to bottom navigation, I can click the apply now or edit and choose a different finance option. If I want to change the pricing at any point in time, I can click pricing. It will bring my adder screen back up where I can choose the appropriate adders for this project and build them into the cost, and it will adjust the financing and calculate that financing much faster as well. So I've unchecked the pricing box and I'm back at my financing option. We can click the edit finance button to change the finance options, the term, add down payment, all of the things that we would normally be able to do in the old mode, just with a lot quicker, more streamlined. Again, I keep repeating that, but it is true. When I click done, we can expand down, get a system summary, and compare pre and post solar. A couple more things that are super important that we want to show you before we wrap this up. On the left-hand side with these three bars, I'm going to click the button and I'll get a breakdown of all of the different slides that I have here. I can still click this edit button and change the homeowner information. And if I want to edit these slides, I can turn off and on the ones that I want for the sales mode or the web proposal. You can turn off and on these things in the presentation itself, or the version that you send to the homeowner's email, or the new option we're going to show you here in just a moment. So back on the left-hand side, I'm going to click the share button. And if I want to send this to the homeowner, the web proposal, the email address will populate, or we'll put their email address in here and send them a web version. Now, this is something that's been requested for quite some time. There's also a sales mode PDF now. So if you need to leave behind a PDF version of your proposal, you can click the download button and it'll generate a sales mode PDF for you to then leave with the customer or email to them. Once it's finished exporting, you can actually click the download button. So I've opened up my new PDF proposal, and it's going to look very similar to the proposal that we just went over with our customer, with a breakdown of all of the slides that I've included. This is a huge leap forward for presenting your proposal to the homeowner. In the past, you were not able to share a PDF with them of the presentation, but now we have a design breakdown and a full system breakdown of the proposal you just went over, including their finance options, that you're now able to send to the homeowner. It'll include your contact information as well if they want to follow up. So that's a key difference now between the old sales mode and the new sales mode, is not only has the design been improved dramatically, but you can now send a PDF to the homeowner or send them a live web presentation so you can go over with them what you've already presented and they can look at it at their own time. If you are ready to then convert this to a project after they've applied and passed and signed their loan documents, you can click the Exit to CRM button and you can send this project to Freedom, where you can convert it to a project. Okay, so we've shown you how the new sales mode works, the key differences between the old version and the new version, and the new ability to export those PDFs and send it to your homeowners. We are joined now by members of Aurora, Jeremy and John, as well as Rob Angel and Brian Malott, and we're going to answer your questions about this new update in a Q&A session. So hopefully throughout the presentation, you've had some questions pop up. You can send them into the Q&A now, and we'll answer questions related to the sales mode update. So let's get into it now. All right, everybody. So we are going to go ahead and jump in and just let you know that these changes that are coming to the Aurora sales mode will go live later on this afternoon. So depending on if you're East Coast or West Coast, they'll come live at a later time, probably mid-afternoon for the West Coast and a little bit later in the afternoon for the East Coast folks. And we do have our first question from John, which I will take, and we'll do a little quick screen share so I can show you how to do this. So John's question is, there are times when the average cost per kWh is incorrect. Will we ever be able to edit that value for a more accurate proposal? So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a quick screen share here real quick and jump into the new sales mode. Now, when I'm here, I can go to edit energy usage. Now, before I do that, this design was for an FPL customer in Florida where the average rate is 13 cents and it shows the fixed cost and the escalation. Now, if I'm in Florida and let's say that the utility rate for FPL after you've got the bill, you've done the math, it looks like it's closer to 16 cents per kilowatt hour. Under the utility rate, I can click on the utility rate and 0.16, and I should be able to get a custom rate plan for 16 cents. Okay. All right, so this is probably because it's in the new mode and I'm using the demo sandbox. Let me stop my share real quick. I'll bring up a version on the current version of Lightspeed and we'll bring up an example there. So bear with me for just a moment while I open up that for you. And if you do have any additional questions that you'd like to ask while we have this panel with us, go ahead and add them now to the Q&A. We will get those approved and put them up on screen so that our panel can answer your questions about the new sales mode. While we are going through this, I will let you know that we will have a copy of this webinar that we've recorded up and sent out later in this afternoon. So you'll be able to get a recap of everything that we talked about today, view this video, send it out to your teams, and it'll have the Q&A included. So here we go. We're going to jump into a proposal, and I'll do a new screen share. All right, so when I jump over to, again, the look of this will change very soon. If I go to the usage details, and we have a utility rate. If I put in
hey Mark, I'm still not seeing your screen share here, unfortunately.
Okay, let me jump back over. All right, so on the usage details screen, I'm changing my utility rate plan from the FPL plan to 0.16 for that custom rate plan, and I'll choose estimate. Now, because it's a custom rate plan, it's not going to have those FPL fixed costs in there, but it will have a more accurate number for the cost per kilowatt hour. So again, to make that change within Aurora, you go to the energy usage screen, you edit the usage details, and if you have the true cost per kilowatt and it's different from what's listed here, you can put that custom rate in. Great question.
Hey, Mark, real quick, before you move on from there, just want to put one disclaimer on that, if you don't mind. You guys can hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you great, Rob.
All right. Just want to say, while that's there, we really don't recommend using it often. I would say the only times you really want to use it are in kind of deregulated energy markets. So, certain areas of Texas and other states that have deregulated energy, or if there's like a time of use rate and it's just kind of not factoring the customer's time of use. Any other scenario, really would recommend you don't use that. There are going to be, in some situations, some minor differences in kind of what you see on the bill versus what Aurora shows, but by putting in that custom rate, especially as your post-solar rate plan, it messes with the economics post-sale. It doesn't factor in exactly how the utility bills solar, and it could be off. And depending on the utility, it could be off by a pretty large degree. So just use that with caution. It also potentially could mess up some other areas like batteries. When you attach batteries, it could give you an error message there because it doesn't actually know what the utility is, and there's certain utility validations that we have. So again, it's there if you really need it. Really recommend you don't use it though, except in those very limited scenarios.
Thanks, Rob. All right. Next question is from Andrew. And that is there a way to show more than one finance option at a time? Jeremy, I'll kick that one over to you.
Sure. Yeah. Just like in today's sales mode experience, you can compare financing options. You can compare two at a time. You can do a cash versus a financed amount, or two different finance amounts. You can show them side by side, just like you can today. You just click on the financing option at the top, or scroll down to it, and then you can add multiple financing options, and then select the one that the homeowner wants to go with, and then complete with the application process.
Appreciate that, Jeremy. Next question we have is from Mike. And that is, will the share live sales mode actually record audio for the presentation, or is it just the visuals? Sorry, not sure if I heard that correctly or made up in my mind. I'm going to shoot that over to Brian. If you want to answer that.
Sure thing. Thanks for the question, Mike. Yeah, so it's not recording an actual like demo of you going through the presentation and recording it and sending it out. That web proposal is basically going to be like that same flow that you've sent over, but it is a dynamic link. So if you shoot that over to the customer, and then there are any changes that you make to that proposal after the fact, maybe you send it to the customer. They ask you to tweak a couple things. You make those adjustments in your proposal. Those will show live. If they refresh their screen, they'll see that updated proposal there. So it is dynamic. It is a really cool feature. But yeah, it's not gonna get any audio that you've been covering with the customer for that. And then the other cool thing about that feature, or at least that section of the new sales mode, is that you are able to download a PDF proposal, which is something that we've all wanted for a very long time, and it's finally here. So you do have that asset that you can download and share as a PDF with the customer as well.
Thanks, Brian. Our next question is from Donnie, and that is for Jeremy. Are expert designs generated the same way, and at the same time, are the speeds faster?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Donnie. Our expert design service functions the same way as it did previously. So you have two options: either a standard expert design, which can be up to 180 minutes, but almost always it's at least half that time, or the expedited, which is 30 minutes or less. And again, that's also half the time as a typical delivery of those. So similar to previous, expert design timelines, but again, super accurate, and the expedited one's a little bit is faster than the standard one. And while I have the mic, just to echo Brian's previous point, the downloadable PDFs, super excited for that, and cannot wait to see you guys take full advantage of that out in the field.
Appreciate that, Jeremy. Next question is from Chris. Does this update change anything about the process of changing project details after creating a project? Brian, you want that one?
Got it. When I first read this, I think I misunderstood the question. I was thinking that it was when you were coming from Lightspeed into Aurora. Nothing changes there. Does this update change anything about the process of changing project details after creating a project? No, that should all still be the same as well. If you've already created a project and you need to go in and make a change, the best thing to do would be to go into the project. You're going to want to duplicate that design, create a new project, because once you've already created one, you can't recreate. Like you can't take that same project through from Aurora back through the project generation flow. So you're going to want to go back into Aurora. You're going to want to duplicate that design, complete it all. So finalize everything, finalize the production, finalize the pricing, and then you'll do a re-exit to CRM there for updating the project.
Appreciate that, Brian. We do have a question from Jason, And that is there a way to show the billing payment when the customer will not be applying the tax credit to the loan? Again, I'm going to do a quick screen share for this one. So let me jump over to that real quick and share my screen. When you are on the financing page, there is a checkbox here that says use tax credit to pay down loan. That will show you what the monthly payments would be if they choose to use the tax credit or not use the tax credit for its intended purpose. So that checkbox will be available for you to demonstrate. So that's on the financing page of the presentation when you are in Aurora sales mode. Good question. Appreciate that. And our next question is from John. Is there a way to export the formulas on the financial summary when exporting an Excel file? Only values come through. The answer that I got from Aurora that is just no. The formulas are not included in that. It's just the values. Appreciate that question. And we'll grab a couple. Again, we have some time for more questions. So send those in to us. We'll get them approved. All right.
Mark, one question or one topic, I guess, that I want to make sure we go over in depth. Very simple thing, but I just want to make sure people know where the exit to CRM button is and where the exit to go back to the project is. I think you covered that before, but those are, I think, again, as Mark has already mentioned, the biggest things here are going to be just navigational changes, user experience changes, just buttons are moving. All the functionality is generally the same. So if you could bring up, one more time. There you go. Just for new design. Just want to make sure you guys know how to get that. Both of those buttons have moved a little bit. Those are obviously very important buttons. So appreciate that, Mark.
Appreciate that, Rob. Thanks for jumping in there. I appreciate that. All right. So we have time for a couple more questions, folks. Send those in to the queue. We'll get those approved. Again, we've got guest speakers here that are ready and willing to answer your questions. So make sure that these questions are related to the presentation. And I got one here for Jeremy.
Yeah, sure.
What design function would work much better for both of us if we can make any comments when requesting a new design? Jeremy, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Andrew, great feedback. Not the first time we've heard this. And in fact, it's something we are working on. It's not live yet, but something that we are working on to make the experience easier and better, not just for you guys, but also our team. In the meantime, please do use the chat function in the app to work with our support team. That's very quick to respond and to share any design request needs directly to the design team. So for the meantime, use the chat. We are hopeful that we'll have some additional functionality here to address this, as Andrew points out. But continue to use our chat team and our support.
Appreciate that, Jeremy. We have another question for you here from Trevor. And not to go back on you, Jeremy, it's when using the compare financing option, will the value of the tax credit be shown for the second finance option also?
Yes, it should. I believe you have the option of selecting the ITC on or off for each financing product.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Folks, we have reached the end of our Q&A. So if you do have any questions regarding these updates to sales mode, please drop them into the Q&A now so we can get those answered. I will reiterate, we do have an email address, producteducation@freedomforever, where you can email questions that that if they weren't pertaining to the presentation, but you still need to get a question answered, you can always email us there. We will send out a recap of this webinar to everyone afterwards. So look for that recap later this afternoon. And we're just going to wait here for another minute or so to see if any additional questions come out for the update to sales mode. So drop those